everybody? It is Sunday, September 8th. Um, I know last time we talked about the Second Amendment and how I feel about that. Today, I wanted to kind of break away from serious stuff and get to something a lot of us have waited a long, long, long time for. This Sunday, today, is the first day of the NFL season. I'm excited. Been sitting here all day watching TV, watching every team play. Raider fan till I die, but watching a lot of teams today. Fantasy football is a big deal to me. I have a few leagues that I'm in, but yeah. So Sunday, man, football is back. I'm excited. Um, so yeah, that's great news. If you have any comments about your team or you want to talk trash, go ahead and post in the link. Uh, Post not link, duh, the comment section. Um, as for anything else that's serious today, I'd really rather not talk serious topics because I'm in a good mood. So let's talk about um, music. I wanted to dive into that before, and I decided to go with Second Amendment because of what happened in the week. But music has been and continues to be a huge part of who I am, a huge part of my daily life, and it has influenced a lot of things in my life. Every major event that I've had has, had some kind of song or music attached to it, whether that be dealing with emotional trauma from suicides in my family. This is Suicide Awareness Month, so as you can see, Suicide Awareness ribbon. Um, so I guess I'll get a little serious and say if you know people that are battling depression, a lot of times what you see in the daytime with them, getting through the day and smiling their way through it is not always what's going on. So please take time to listen to family, friends, even acquaintances, because you checking in on them and making sure that they're good might be what saves their life. So now, getting away from that, we'll get back to music. Every day, we all hear music, whether it be on the radio, through streaming media, commercials, movies, etc. Um, and it's meant to influence how we feel. It's meant to make us want to buy something or want to get up and dance or get up and karaoke, whatever the case may be. Um, and I think that's a really strong internal thing that people have, that we're driven by music. A lot of times, if you're at a club and the beat is a driving beat, your heartbeat will start to mimic that. Or like our internal everything, I believe, is tied to music. Um, so for me, it has been a huge part of everything I've done. Growing up, my parents were into classics, the Beatles, the Doors, old school country, Alabama, Charlie Daniels, things like that. My brother was into 80s metal, Metallicas and the Slayers, and my sister was into the pop music with the George Michaels and the Cyndi Laupers. I really found my niche and my groove in hip hop. It started with breakdancing and Herbie Hancock, Rocket. Wax up the cardboard and go out and just get down. That's where it started for me. So diving into hip hop when the 80s and 90s rolled around and we started to have the NWA making huge waves. We had the East Coast, West Coast hip hop wars. Um, we had transitions with Eminem coming in and kind of changing the way things were perceived about white rappers. Um, but ultimately, I settled in my early 20s, and now I'm 40, settled into underground hip hop. We're talking the Tech Nines, we're talking Twisteds, we're talking ICPs, we're talking that vein of music where hip hop is still pure. Um, it's not often that you can find real music nowadays, that you can find music that speaks directly from the artist's soul, um, especially in hip hop. A lot of it now is beat driven, um, club driven. So, the labels will make a track and it will, um, be a club banger, but then the rest of the album's kind of whack. We have, new rappers like 6ix9ine, like Lil Pump, like all these other mumble rap, as you'd call it. Um, the old school guys like me, just we aren't feeling it. We're not vibing with it, and that's okay. The younger crowd is, and I think as hip hop evolved, there was people before me that didn't like gangster rap, that didn't like that era. Um, and I think it's a natural progression that happens. So right now, I have been since 2012, so 7 years now, working with Scotty D and FagoLovers.net, doing music reviews, show reviews, interviews with artists, things like that in the underground hip hop scene. And for the past couple of years, I've only had a few reviews out there because I've been kind of tied up with life and doing things in my own life. That kind of took me away from that. And to say that I miss it, that it's a huge part of me that I need to get back, would be an absolute understatement. Um, so this week, I wrote a review of the new Kung Fu Vampire album that's posted on FagoLovers.net. Um, and I hope that that is the beginning of a regular schedule of interviews, reviews again. I need that in my life. I need that to feed my soul, I guess you would say. I try to be as legit as I can in reviewing. I try to be as honest as I can, sometimes brutally honest. Some artists like it, some don't. But it's something that I definitely think artists need to hear. You can't surround yourself, especially if you're an artist, you can't surround yourself with people that hype you up all the time. That no matter what you put out, it's the dopest shit ever. And, nothing is better than you. Gosh, you're so amazing. Do we need those people in our life? Absolutely. Do we need that confidence and positivity in music? Absolutely. But do we also need the guy that's like, yeah, that's okay, but it's kind of whack. Maybe this would be better. Try this. It's not really that good. Do we need those people that are honest to make us grow? 100%. And that goes for anything that you do, not just music. If you're an artist, if you're, a musician, if you're even in your daily job, you do interviews or reviews bi-yearly or yearly with your company, and they tell you this is the stuff you're doing great, this is the stuff you're not doing so great. If all you're doing is being told that everything you're doing is great and phenomenal, you never advance, you never get better. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, is that brutal honesty, and that somebody will tell you this isn't that good, try harder. Um, as long or as well as the guy saying keep trying, this is getting better. That positivity and the negativity have to go hand in hand, um, and it has to be a very, very delicate balance of the two things. So when it comes to music, look on my Facebook page, Twitter. Fago Lovers has a Facebook and Twitter. Look for links for the new reviews that we have. If you have comments, suggestions, you hear an artist that we reviewed that you didn't know, and you check them out and they're dope, let us know. If you're an artist and you want to send in music, let me know. and I'll be more than happy to review it. But be aware, it's going to be honest. And if I think you're lacking, I'm gonna let you know. Um, there's been no artists in my 7 years that have gotten a 5 out of 5 album from me. There's been a few 4.6s, 4.7s, but never a 5 because I think everybody in music, no matter how high up the ladder they might be, is perfect. Um, I work with some artists and I always tell them when you record a track and you want to put it out, you should think it's a 5 out of 5. 100%. You should think this guy should review it a 5 out of 5. Because if you don't, you shouldn't put it out. But be aware as an artist, what you think is a 5 out of 5, the listener and or reviewer might think it's a 4 or a 3. And that's not to like kick your ego or to make you feel bad. But hear that criticism. It's constructive, and it can be good for your career. Um, but yeah, I think music has an amazing power over people. I think it has an amazing ability to help people through tough times, to make people remember good times. The one thing that music has always been is evolution, right? We have an evolution of music that every generation attaches to, right? In the 60s, you had the evolution of the guitar, um, with Jimi Hendrix, with Elvis, with the Beatles. All these guys did things with an electric guitar. Eric Clapton, Santana, all these guys in the 60s and 70s took that and elevated it to heights where people didn't know. And then, in the 70s, you had the funk era where they were bringing in the bass lines, or they were, dancing and hitting the club, and, the Soul Train line. And that was an evolution. That was incorporating a more African American culture, I guess you would say, into music, which was an evolution. In the 80s, you had hair metal, which was, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, screw the system, right? You had the Twisted Sisters, you had those guys on the metal side. And then on the hip hop side, you had Fuck the Police, right? So the genres were different, the theme was the same. We started to see a lot more artists standing up to the system and saying they weren't going to take it anymore. You had Two Live Crew come in and completely throw the system up and force people to now have parental advisories on their albums, so that way parents would know what their kids were listening to. Because Lord knows a lot of people didn't understand As Nasty as They Want to Be by Two Live Crew until they heard it, and then it was shocking. Then we had the 2000s, and you had an evolution of pop music just blew up. Um, this evolution that you had, poppy themes and groups like Maroon 5 and Katy Perry and all those people in the early 2000s, taking it to another level. We get into almost 2020 now. It'll be 2020 in a few months. And I'm excited to see where it's going. I'm excited to see where that evolution happens. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on music. Those are my thoughts on the evolution that we've done. So give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, hit the subscribe button. That way you can get an update of when I post a video. I'm hoping to do it every week or so. And also be on the lookout at www.fagolovers.net for any of my reviews. They'll be posted on my Facebook page. If you do not know my Facebook page, you can look up James Harris, and it will have a Raiders for Life logo on the like profile picture, because that's what I do. Um, but yeah, football season's here, music season's here, movies. Man, movies are blowing up. I'm gonna have, hopefully next week when I talk to you guys, a review of the It 2 movie. I'm hoping to get out and see that on Friday. Um, but yeah, there's a ton of movies coming out that I'm excited about. The It movie, The Joker movie coming out. There's some new horror flicks coming out. And so, yeah, next week, why don't we attack movies? Let me know what movies you want me to talk about. If you know classics that you love, let's open up a discussion on that. So, it's been great talking to you guys, dumping my mind on music, and I look forward to next week and knocking out some music topics. All right, thanks.